Hey, it's great to see you again. It's been like what, since before COVID that I last saw you, something like that?
Something like that, yeah. Because yeah, you're out in Finland now, aren't you? Still?
Yeah. Great to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too,
Uh,
buddy.
yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to do this as well. Um,
Absolutely.
I remember when I was kind of coming up with names of people that like interesting people that I want to talk to, not only from the goalie world, but the hockey world in general. You were at the top of the list. Because I know you've got a very unique background in hockey, everything you've been doing. You're not just playing, you're really helping grow the game. So really great to have you on.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate the invite, and yeah, no, I'm honored that you thought of me and that I was, high up on the list for you.
Yeah, of course. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've known you for a bunch of years, but I actually still feel like I don't really know you at all because like our conversations have always been about hockey.
Mhm.
A lot of it has been women's hockey because I've learned so much about it from you, from your perspective. But I thought maybe at the start we could get a little personal, if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
because I want to know about Haley Rath, the person. And so I just wanted to know, can you talk about your life growing up, where you're from, how you first got into hockey, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Where I'm from is a bit of a more complicated answer I think you bargained for. We moved around a lot when I was a kid, so I was technically born in the Ottawa Valley, but I've always said that I grew up in Toronto. I moved here when I was 9, and it's been kind of just home for me ever since. But I would have started playing hockey when we lived in Woodstock, Ontario, and played for the Woodstock Wildcats for a couple of years. Go Wildcats! And yeah, that's where really the love got started. And the funny story of how I ended up joining girls hockey instead of boys hockey as a kid actually was that when my dad went to the rink to sign me up, because back then you actually had to go to the rink and sign up. He goes to wait in the line, and the line for the boys hockey league is a lot longer than the line for the girls hockey league. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not waiting." So signs me up for the girls hockey league, which ultimately was the right decision anyways. But just
Yeah,
a
it seems
funny
like it worked
story of
out.
seems like it worked out just fine. But yeah, that would be my dad just being impatient and going, "Yep, all right, we're going into girls hockey." Um, and yeah, I played Woodstock, and that's actually where I started my goaltending career a little bit. I was a very terrible player. I really liked
Same here.
playing hockey, but I was terrible at it. And I wanted to touch the puck more. So, and the goalie gets to touch the puck all the time. So that was 5-year-old Haley's logic was go in net because you get to touch the puck more. And I was right. And yeah, it turns out I wasn't half bad at it. And just that love kept growing over the years. So as I got, you go from just that couple of times every season when it's your turn in house league, and then you're taking half the season. And then the rep teams are asking, oh, okay, well, she's playing a lot in net. Why did she want to come play rep hockey? And my parents went, all right, we'll give her a go. And here we are years and years later. Now I'm coaching the kiddos and still playing a lot. So it's yeah, it's been quite the journey, but it's always been goaltending for me, and there's been no question about it.
That's amazing. Full circle, basically.
Full circle.
Yeah. And your strategy worked out. I mean, I kind of did the same thing. I was like, well, you can't bench me as a goalie the way I got benched in house league, basically. Got like three shifts some games just because the coaches didn't want to let me play because they wanted to win the games or something like that.
Who
Freaking
wants to win
house
the
league.
games? Come on. House league. That's kind of crazy in
House
house
league.
league,
Yeah,
but
there you go. So yeah, so you were always a goalie, but when you were skating out, were you forward, defense?
I was defense when I was real little. The few times I've gone out now, I usually tend to go towards forward, mainly because I think I can actually do less damage up there. When you're a defenseman, you have a tendency to just go into the lane a bit more. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just block the goalie and try and block a shot, and it's gonna end badly for everyone. So if I'm a forward, I'm a very offensive forward. I'm like, just put me all the way up there, because then I can't cause problems.
Yeah,
You can still cause all sorts of problems, but I at least don't cause problems for the goalie usually.
you would have been a great beer leaguer forward with that attitude.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. That's the only time I play forward is if it's beer league or shinny. So you don't need to have any sort of structural integrity to the game.
yeah,
You can just go.
yeah. Half the forwards on the teams I played with, I didn't even know them because I didn't recognize them from up close, you know.
Yeah, they're just all the way down the ice. You're like, I don't even know what number you wear, man.
So I mean, so goaltending for you was like love at first sight, huh?
Yep, pretty much. My mom was a goalie too, so it was kind of came to me
Okay.
naturally there. There's fun series of photos that we have hanging up in the house of her when she was like she would have been like 13 or 14, I guess, in her goalie gear, and then it's me and my first photo day with the Woodstock Wildcats in my goalie gear. I'm like 5 or 6, and but that's our little photo set next to each other. Because yeah, it's my parents couldn't say no. They're like, well, we kind of dug our own graves with that one, so we can't say
Yeah,
no
that makes
now.
it harder to say no for sure.
It sure does.
Yeah. So did your mom play at the high school level or college or like where
Um,
did she get up to?
Jim, I think she quit when she was about 15 or 16, as a lot of girls do, unfortunately. But she got back into it after she had kids. So we moved back to Toronto, and she was, all of us kids are a little more grown up, and they could have a little bit more time to themselves. My mom got back into it and played Dolphins, just senior house league and all that, which she really loved and enjoyed, and playing a couple other leagues with some of her friends that she made through the years and whatnot. And she doesn't play too much these days, but she's also very busy doing CrossFit and half marathons. So
Oh, wow.
I don't know. My family's kind of insane that way, but we come by it honestly. Is I think we can say at the very least. But yeah, she's not playing too much anymore, but did play still quite a bit as an adult, and really cool to see her get back into it as an adult because that's not an easy thing to do when you've left the game for a few years, especially after having 3 kids. So that's a very impressive feat. But yeah, I didn't play like high level or anything, but she was a goalie. She was out there. She was stopping shots and yeah, doing the good work.
Doing the splits, passing down the athletic genes to you.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, well, I mean, like growing up when you're kind of as a kid, you're idolizing hockey stars. Like as a boy, like for me it was easy because your entire sport was dominated by men at the time, and so you're playing street hockey, you're pretending you're your favorite NHL player or goalie in a Stanley Cup Game 7 overtime, and next shot wins, stuff like that. But like, what was it like for a young girl being a fan of the game? Did you look up to anyone, women, men, like maybe even across other sports?
Yeah, I mean, it was growing up. I look back and there was a lot of pretending. I was Roberto Luongo, I was Carey Price. If I was playing out, I was Henrik Sedin, I was Matt Sundin. I was, it's a lot of men at first, and then slowly women's hockey is really growing. And you're only seeing it really at the Olympics every 4 years, but that makes enough of an impact that all of a sudden you're Marie-Philippe Poulin and you want to score the game-winning goal in overtime against the United States. You're Shannon Zabados and you're standing on your head in front of your country in Vancouver. Like there was moments where it gave us kind of just that hope, that little bit of shine. And I remember staying home from school to watch Sochi, and just being, I was in like the 12th grade, I think. This is 2014, Sochi was, I believe. And watching that comeback, we go down 2-0 in the game, and then we come back, fight back, tie up the game, and end up winning it. And just losing my marbles over it and being so excited. And I made even a little sign and I put it up outside of my house of like, proud to be a female hockey player, because
That's
it
awesome.
matters. And it's, if you can see it, you can be it. It's a big mantra we've heard from women's pro hockey. And yeah, I started out thinking Roberta Luongo, Carey Price, Martin Brodeur, all those guys. That's who I wanted to be. And then it
Mhm.
became, Kim St. Pierre, Sammy Joe Small, Genevieve Lacasse, Shannon Zabados. You've got, just, and the list grows and grows and grows now. And it's really cool to see because now you see those little girls and that's who they talk about. They want to be Emma Mashmeyer. I want to be Anne Renee Desbiens. I want to be Marie-Philippe Poulin. I want to be Emma Malte. They've got so much more to choose from too, and it's really cool to see. But yeah, it definitely didn't start that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess you were also kind of born at like the perfect intersection of women's hockey, kind of getting that prime time viewership,
Yeah,
like with the
I
Olympic
watched it.
wins and
I watched it boom.
yeah.
It really grew in the time that I've been alive. And yeah, when I started, it wasn't as much of an option. But as you guys got older, there was more there, and there was more there, and then there's more chatter, and there's more talk, and there's more opportunity, and now it's there.
Did you watch like Sammy Joe Small play when you were growing
Yep,
up?
I sure did, and yeah, she was one of my childhood heroes. Loved watching her play, and I actually remember I watched her play the Toronto Furies a couple times when I was a kid. Because we lived just down the road from MasterCard Center, which is their home rink. And this was before I was, old enough to actually go work with them. And I remember meeting her in the lobby one time, and she definitely doesn't remember this, but I remember meeting her in the lobby one time, and that was so cool. And it was all the players just hanging out in the lobby. They're like still in half gear because they just got off the ice and they're hanging out with the fans, and because that's what women's hockey was then, and that's how you market. And it was
Mhm.
really cool though because I just got to meet Sammy Joe Small, like that was really cool. And I'd met her a couple times before that. I'd done a camp that she was at and all that. Like there was some really cool opportunities, but yeah, no, I was very fortunate to have watched her play and grown up watching her and get to meet her a few times. And then now I play with her a couple times a week and I've worked with her and I can call her a friend and it's such a cool feeling for little Haley to just be like, Sammy Joe Small. Sammy
That's
Joe Small is just that's my every week now, and that's pretty cool.
yeah. I'm just like it's one thing to meet your idol, but like to actually be able to be on the ice with them at the same time.
Yeah,
That's unreal. Yeah.
it's very cool. We actually had a funny moment in our Friday morning hockey game this week. I subbed in for Sammy's team, and I made some weird diving blocker save. I don't know. We're not going to talk about the
Technique.
tactics, the technique there. And it put me way out of position, and they made it like the puck had bounced off the backboards and was coming right back up, and the player was just going to shoot it right into the net. And Sammy Joe Small comes sliding in two pad stack style right into the net just to stop the puck, and it bounces off her, and I managed to reach back and get the cover for the whistle, and we're all just laughing. So we're like, how many goalies does it take to stop this shot?
That's always good to have as a defenseman and freaking a
Yeah,
goalie legend or like
yeah.
a
I'm like, yeah,
Olympic legend.
yeah. She's like, tell me if you can't see, and I'm like, Sammy, I trust that you're gonna block it. You're not gonna flinch out of the way. So if I can't see,
Yeah.
it's all right. If
Yeah,
you're the one blocking
if
me,
you're
I'm
in front
okay
of me,
with
you're
it.
catching it. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Just don't move. You're good.
I hope in goodness, right? 2002, I think I was watching the Women's Olympics, and it was Tuula Puputti in net for Finland, and
Yep.
yeah, that was the first time I kind of saw like, look, wow, like women's hockey is actually really good. Like where can I see more of it? But
Yeah.
it was tough. It was tough. Like outside of Olympics at the time, especially when you have like CBC and that's it. Like where else
Yeah.
can you watch it?
There's the Olympics, and then eventually the World Championships started getting more and more traction and more viewership, and then more time airtime. But yeah, even now it's still how do you watch women's hockey is still a big question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but now like the over the last year, I've been watching compilations of hits in the PWHL, compilations of trash talking in the PWHL, goal
Yeah,
saves. Like it's
it's
awesome.
definitely easier. Oh my
Yeah,
God, yeah,
yeah.
there's so much more out there now, and it's so cool to see.
And I love it because like I know we've had this conversation before where I want to see hitting in the women's game. Like I want to see more
Hmm.
physicality, and you're like they're physical enough as it is. Like they can be vicious, but now that like I've seen the PWHL, it's like they're going for it. Like they're going with
Yeah.
some big hits, and I freaking love it. Like it's
Oh
pure
yeah.
hockey. Like it's pure hockey.
It's fantastic. It's really cool to watch. My one concern with all that was clearly they went, okay, you guys can hit each other now, and then didn't teach them how to do it. So you definitely could see the learning curve of everyone being like, oh, we can. How do we do this? What's safe and what's not? And that was a little problem when it all kind of got rolling. But I think we've smoothed out a little bit of that now. But you could see just that learning curve of everyone going, oh, I can actually throw my shoulder now. How
Yeah,
do
yeah.
I do it?
That'll come. I mean, like the
Yeah,
training avenues are going to open up as well. Like the more experience for the players. Like, I mean, I can't even imagine how it's like to be like one year you're like, well, your entire hockey career you've been playing a certain way, and all of a sudden you're in a full
yeah.
contact league, and it's like obviously some are going to do better at it than others, but
Yeah,
it'll
and I mean it's the same with even with men's hockey, you see, some guys are hitters and some guys aren't. Like you've got guys who know how to go hard into a corner, you got the guys that are uh, a little more agile out there, let's say. But it's I think you're going to see that develop in women's hockey too a little bit more. You've got the more physical players and a little more of the the dump and chase and the dekers and all that.
who's the biggest rat in women's hockey right now?
Oh,
Who's
the
like the
biggest
Brad
rat.
Marchand of women's hockey?
Um,
The Rat Queen.
hmm, the Rat Queen. Yeah, I mean, oh, what's her name? I try not to think about her. Same as I try not to think about Brad Marchand, but holy crap, I can't think of her name all of a sudden. I hate her so much too. And she's a player that a lot of fans will boo on the ice. Now, I will say I don't even like comparing her to Brad Marchand because at least Brad Marchand is a decent person off ice, and she's not a decent person off ice. So I think it's an insult to Brad Marchand to compare her to him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, and but yeah, it's funny because yeah, I don't think you have that small annoying player like Brad Marchand yet. You don't have quite that. You've got the bigger players that are stepping up into those roles. Like you got Megan Keller, who's like 6 feet tall, and she's going to step up into that. You've got actually, you know what? Teresa Vanisheva. That's a pretty
Her?
good answer, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
she's got. I mean, she's got the first Gordie Howe hat trick. Right?
Okay.
She's the only player in women's hockey history so far to have an aggregate. She's got a fight, an assist, and a goal in a game. So, and like a real honest to God fight with Jill Saunier. So that was pretty fun. And yeah, she's known for being pretty feisty on the ice, but she's also really good. So it's kind of that Brad Marchand mix of like, well, damn it, I want you on my team, but I don't want to play against you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess I'm gonna queue that up on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, you got to watch some Teresa Vanisheva. She's unreal, and she also scored the game-winning goal for the Toronto Six in the Isabel Cup Finals. So, a little soft spot for her.
Talking about the PWHL, like when I first met you, it was what the CWHL and the NWHL, right?
Yep.
And neither of them are around anymore. And so now you have a fully national women's professional league. So despite the initial mess, I remember we were talking about this when the NWHL pretty much like all of a sudden disbanded overnight, like the you had like players
Yep.
losing out on contracts and like they had just signed before they ceased operations. But it seems like overall it's gone really well, and like the game has seen a lot of growth and attention. So they're definitely pushing it the right direction. But like what are your thoughts on the PWHL, and what do you think's been the biggest game changer with this league compared to the previous iterations?
It's a big question. And my friends know I got a lot of emotions around this, especially being an alumni of the Toronto Six and the Toronto Furies. I worked for both leagues. I lost my job over Twitter twice. I've experienced this heartbreak of just having everything you worked for and built for taken away for, what it's tough because it's everything you've ever wanted for women's hockey is finally happening, but it came at the expense of so much for a lot of us. And I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the PWHL grow. At times, I'm definitely still very salty about it. And that's, these are my own personal feelings. It's
For
just
sure.
there are times where it's hard, where it's like, where were all of these people when we had other leagues that were doing a lot of similar things?
Mm,
Um, and there is definitely a big difference. There's a lot of money behind this league, and that really helps. As much as we hate it, money makes the world go round.
mm,
Um, and it's been awesome to see so many people get opportunities in this league. You've seen a lot of players get real chances, but you've also seen a lot of players lose out on chances, and a lot of players who have retired early because there's simply not enough spots.
yeah.
And I know they're working on changing that with expansions, but you went from having what was essentially 11 teams at the time, between the PHF having seven and the PWHPA having their like four regions or whatever it was. Um, and then it was uh, then you had six teams, and that's great. But you had seven teams or 11 teams worth of players. Something was going to have to give, and a lot of them did. And it came at the expense of a lot of PHF players, which was really unfortunate. And some of them got spots and then retired a year later. And it's been tough to watch, just from that perspective. But it's also really cool to see some of them like Teresa Vanishva get these opportunities and chances to really shine and
Mm.
go toe to toe and say, yep, doesn't matter which side we were on when all of this went down. I'm stepping up into the role that I've been given here. So I love what the PWHL is doing, and I'm going to support it to no end because this is what we've always wanted. This is everything anyone in women's hockey has ever worked for. This is what we've talked about our whole lives. But it doesn't mean that every now and then I get a little upset that, you know, with so many of us had to go through a lot of painful emotions for us to get here.
There's so many people, so much support around it too, so that you know there's not enough space
Yeah.
for everyone, and like all those people worked so hard for their dreams, and it's completely out of their hands. It's like, what are you supposed to do? You know?
Yeah. And, a lot of us would have loved to have joined the new league and helped supported it from the inside and help build it up. And we weren't given that opportunity initially. And I'm hopeful that we're working towards a future where, you know, the names of the teams I've worked for on my resume, help me and don't hinder me.
Mm.
Um, I'd love to go back and work in this league. It's a no-brainer that I want to be back in women's hockey, and but I know that there's also, I think, some time that needs to be taken just for from both sides, both for my own ego and all of that. That I need to be able to join this league and be 100% all in. And I know that time heals all wounds, and it's definitely these last couple of years, it's taking time and it still hurts from time to time, but I am far more far more of a fan now than I definitely was in year one. That's for sure. But and I know a lot of people who feel the same way, where it was difficult at the start to watch all of this happen, and we're like, all right, I'm in. Like I was always in, but let's shake off the rest.
Yeah, yeah. And this is why I appreciate always um, being a chance to pick your brain about these things, because that's not something that I, as a fan, would see and experience. But you having been on the actual inside, like that it's not like for me, it's like, oh, cool, like a real like a big time professional women's hockey league with lots of money and support behind it. That's a good thing, right? But then learning
Yeah,
that all those other teams got disbanded, all those contracts got nullified. I know at the time, I think Nora Ratu was supposed to come to Toronto to play, and I was so excited. I mean, even though I was in
yeah,
Toronto, but like I was like, wow, okay, like this is like the legend of the women's hockey in Finland, and she's gonna
yeah,
be in like a huge hockey market, and well, that didn't happen because everything got messed up. So
yeah.
that was just my tiny sliver of information that I had about the whole process. But
Yeah,
is
there's a lot that happened, a lot of emotions, and it's but again, it's this is everything we've wanted, and it's really cool to see it go down. Um, and it just, I think for some people they'll take longer, but for all of us, at the end of the day, we're supporting women's hockey, and we always will.
mhm. Yeah, and I think that's also um, what I've always been so impressed with your maturity and your I mean the level of information that you have and your business sense as well. That I think if the PWHL really wants to grow the game, they need people like you in it. That's a no-brainer for me.
Thank you, Mazda. I appreciate that.
Tailing off from that, like where do you see women's hockey going in the next few years? And then there was a little mention that I heard about international expansion, and I was wondering like if you know anything about that, and like because I'm really curious how it works.
Um, I think it would be an interesting series of repeating historical mistakes for them to expand internationally, especially so soon.
Hmm.
We all, I'm assuming anyone in women's hockey remembers Kunlun and the Vanke race, uh, the CWHL's expansion to China,
Hmm.
which was,
I didn't know
it
they were
came,
part of. Wow, okay. I didn't know
yep,
they were part
for
of.
the last 2 years, the last 2 years we had the Kunlun Red Stars, and the Vanke Rays played 1 year and then just kind of mysteriously disappeared. Um, but yeah, so the CWHL expanded to China and then folded. Now that expansion came with a lot of money and support from some various people. So there was, it wasn't just a let's expand to China kind of type of thing. But I think an international expansion would be incredibly tough. I think expanding to Seattle and Vancouver is already a big jump for them. That is far on the West Coast. That is a lot of travel, a lot of logistics. You're talking about, very different time zones when the furthest we've already had right now is Minnesota.
Right.
Um, so I think it's, Seattle and Vancouver feels like a pretty big jump for the league in year three. I think it's fantastic that they are expanding. I think you've got a lot of players who deserve spots in this league, and that expansion allows for that, especially players who are coming out of college. But it's a lot. And I think even to talk about, I've heard already conversations. They're like, yeah, we want to keep growing and expanding, and we're going to expand sooner than I think anyone thought we would. And I'm like, that's great. But these are also the same mistakes previous leagues have made where, yes, everyone wants you to expand. Is it feasible? Is it logical? Does it make sense right now? And does it make sense to go where you're going? So those are my biggest concerns with that is um, make sure you have a solid foundation where you are. Because let's talk about the New York Sirens for a minute. Those poor New York Sirens, it could be a fantastic market, but they're not given. I don't think they're being given proper structure. They don't play in a in New York even sometimes. So I'm like, get at least
Sounds like the
from
Islanders all over again.
yeah. So like, give I think you really have to build the structure and solidify what you have before you go and expand. Now, Canadian markets are doing fantastic. I think Vancouver's going to do great. I'm curious to see how Seattle does. But Minnesota is one of the only American markets right now that has really just been consistent in holding their own. So I do get concerned about just that kind of scenario. If you're going to talk about expanding again, keep another, keep it the way you're doing it. One American, one Canadian team, match each other, match time zones. Like Minnesota needs a friend. That should have gone to Calgary or Edmonton. Detroit is a hockey city, and they're on the border, so you're going to draw from the Canadian market as well. And you're not so close to any other team that you're going to draw from their market like Buffalo would.
Yeah, and
So
Sarnia
I,
alone will have lots of fan support into
yeah,
Detroit.
Sarnia, Windsor, they're right there. Plus, Detroit itself is just it's hockey city. They call themselves that for a reason, and as much as I hate to admit that an American team is pretty good at it, they do a pretty good fan base there.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of fantastic options for expansion, but I also think that don't don't jump too quick too fast. We want this league to last. It needs to be sustainable. And I get that there's just so much money coming in, but you can't just keep expanding and expanding for the fun of it. You've got to make sure you're doing it properly. And I'm sure that there's a lot of business people doing all the numbers and logistics that, I'm just looking at it from the outside in as a fan and as someone who's been in the women's hockey world for a long time. But it scares me a little, just in the sense of, oh, I've seen this story before and I know how this can end. But there also does, again, comes down to, do you trust them to do it this time? And we've got to trust them, and we've got to just keep supporting what they are choosing to do. I just hope they don't do an international expansion, at least not for the next 10-ish years, at least,
Right.
let's say, just to put a number out there on it.
And honestly, I hope, yeah, I hope women's hockey keeps getting pushed in the right direction. I hope it stays inclusive or becomes more inclusive, rather. I hope they, I mean, that's the thing that frustrates me about not just on the women's side, but like hockey in general is there's all this talk about diversity in hockey, which is great. That's what we need. But what is the reason for hockey not being diverse enough? And for me, it comes down to the same thing. It's the cost.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reason why, generally speaking, and historically, and even currently, it's the rich white families who are in hockey, and their kids are in hockey, and their kids are in hockey, and that's the way it's
Yeah.
been for 50 years, and that's like, it's so rare to hear the stories of like NHL superstars who came from very like humble beginnings, like their parents were like working two, three jobs just to support the kid playing hockey. Like it's an amazing
Yeah.
story. It's amazing parenting, but I mean, not everyone can do it. It's like it's brutal. Like I would imagine
Yeah.
that it's painful. Like you don't want I don't want people to have to go through that, to have to jump through those hoops just to play hockey. I
Yeah,
just
it should be far more accessible than it is. It's a very expensive sport, and you're right. It's a lot of rich white families, and you're already seeing like legacy players, right? You're seeing the kids of NHL superstars
Mhm.
being drafted in the NHL, and it's like that's really cool. But also, let's talk about why it's only their kids who are now in the hockey. Because not only is it that they're rich and they're, rich white families and all of that, but it's also that they have access to training facilities and training options that other
Yeah.
kids don't. So even if you are well off, you might not even be able to get that type of access that now an NHL family can get you.
Yeah.
So there's so many different factors that go into it. And yeah, the diversity of hockey just isn't there. And I mean, for a long time, it's also, you got to think about how not overly welcoming hockey is to some people, to a lot of people.
Hmm.
Um, not just in your skin color, but in your gender identity and your sexuality and all of this. That hockey is not a welcoming sport to a lot of people,
Hmm.
um, and I think that's something I'd really like to see change, both in the NHL and the PWHL and just sports as a whole. Is just get more inclusive, but the hockey specifically, especially those two leagues, get more inclusive, and let's see those gender inclusion policies. Let's see you actually stand behind some of the words you say. Right? You want to talk the talk. It's time to walk the walk as well. And because if you stand for nothing, you're going to fall for everything. And a lot of these leagues don't stand for shit right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know there's like there are players here and there that do work with charities and like help, give equipment to kids so they can play hockey or they can continue or even start or try it out. And like that's great, but like it needs to be on a mass scale. And you and I both
Yep.
know the NHL has coffers full of money and they could easily make it happen, especially with the
Yep.
the alumni support they have as well. But it seems like maybe they just don't want to.
No, everyone, you get a lot of money and you become real greedy with it. And it's like, you could make a massive difference and fund a youth hockey league and
Yeah.
help grow the game that way. But do you? No. Or, there's a lot of initiatives that are, like you said, so many players do so many things, but it shouldn't be also just on the players to do all these things separately. There should be league level initiatives, and there are league level initiatives. I can't take away from what the NHLPA does with Grindstone. They donate sets of equipment every year to us, and we get to give those to kids who wouldn't be able to afford new equipment. And
Hmm.
that's really cool. There are these initiatives, but there needs to be more, and we know they could do more. So do more.
That's great that you mentioned that because I wanted to talk to you about Grindstone. Because I've noticed, how much you've been, um, you know, giving it that well now my brain just completely stopped working and where I'm forgetting words in three languages now. It's
Hey, that's
insane.
a new one. But I mean, hey, if you're bringing them in three languages, at least knew them in three at one point.
I'm just becoming worse and worse. I think it was the fact that I took like three massive headshots to right between the eyes today. So I'm just gonna blame it on that.
Yep.
But yeah, like I just wanted to mention like I learned about the grindstone through you, seeing your social media posts and hearing you talking about it. And I mean your passion for the game of hockey is unparalleled. Like, and you've worked tirelessly to help make this thing more visible and accessible for future women's players. And this Grindstone Award Foundation, can you give the listeners and me some info about it, like your involvement and what it really means for current and future players?
Yeah. So Grants Award Foundation, we're a Canadian charity. We're nationwide, and we give grants to girls who be unable to afford hockey otherwise. So we essentially help offset registration costs, and we're coast to coast and completely volunteer run. So I started with Grindstone not long after the CWHL folded. I was in my third year sport management at Humber, and you needed 250 hours of essentially volunteer work per semester with an organization. And so I chose to do mine with Grindstone. And I'd seen them at some CWHL events because the CWHL had supported them and ran some events and whatnot. So I'd seen them in Toronto and thought, that's something I can get behind. And it's very much up my alley of what I believe in hockey and just making it more accessible because this sport gave so much to me. And all I've ever wanted to do is make sure that I could continue to give to more young kids. Um, and so yeah, I got involved, volunteered, and did a lot of work there in that 1 year that I was. And at the end of that 1 year, they said, "Hey, do you want to join the board? We know that your kind of volunteer hours are coming to an end, and you've done so much, and you clearly really enjoy it, and we want to have you on our board." And I was like, which was at the age of 23, I think I was felt like a very big honor to join the board of a charity foundation that's stretches as far as Grindstone does, and still, I can't believe I get to sit on the board with some of these fantastic people that I do work alongside every day, and it's been an absolute joy. Just what Grindstone does and continues to do, and just there's so many more young girls that get to play hockey because of us every year, and we do what we do for them every single bit of it. I will get emails from the parents, with just sending us videos of their kid's goal or celebration, or maybe just a photo of them with their teammates, and they're all smiling ear to ear. And I'm tearing up just thinking about it because that's what it's for. That's what it's all about. It's hockey gave hockey gave me everything, and it's really cool to be able to give that back and give it to someone else and be a part of that. And you know, just the growth we've seen in Grindstone the last couple of years too, touching into kind of the Barbie thing, which I think you're probably going to end up asking about, that our big Barbie thing with Tim Hortons, PWHL, and Barbie. And that was massive. It's going to be game changing for us, and it's going to allow us to help more young girls than ever. And there's just so there's so much work to be done in hockey, and as we've talked about how inaccessible it is, and to help make even just a drop in the bucket difference. It's a
Hmm.
drop in the bucket, but when everyone's dropping a little bit in that bucket, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. Do you have the Barbie figure with you?
As for your request, I do. I put them beside my desk. So I've got one of each I bought for myself here. So we got our two Barbies.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, on the day that they came out on that Monday morning, I was awake at 6:30 in the morning, which I don't usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning. And I went down to the Tim Hortons. It's just down the road from me here, and bought a whole bunch of them. So I've actually got a few more Barbies in my room here because I got bought a couple to donate to Grindstone so we can have them at events and auction them off, or not auction, but like have them as part of a raffle or something. And a couple of people that couldn't get to Tim Hortons to get them were like, Haley, can you get me some? I'm like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. So got a
Awesome.
few Barbies here, but yeah, I showed up and then bought a whole bunch, and they're like, "We just put this display up like half an hour ago. This is really cool. You're." I was like, "I don't think you understand how cool this is for me. Like, I can see the Grindstone logo just everywhere in here, and it is
Yeah, yeah.
so cool." And to know again that it's across the nation, and every Tim Hortons Grindstones logo is there now, and everyone's gonna know who we are. It was so cool. We were first all told about this at a board meeting months and months and months ago, and all of my friends can attest that I did not tell a single soul. I didn't tell anyone about this. We were told you can't tell anyone, and all of us went, I can't be the person that accidentally lets it slip and loses it all for Grindstone. And that is a very difficult thing to keep. That's a very big secret to keep for months and months. But
Yeah,
they
I
tell us
can
this at
imagine.
our board meeting.
I can imagine you must
And
have been so excited and just like
oh,
wanting to
so excited.
explode.
Like, oh, we all cried at that board meeting when they told us that we were chosen for this partnership. Everyone was just crying because of we knew what that meant, and we knew what it would mean for Grindstone and what it would mean for all these young girls that, every year we get X amount of grant applications, but we can only give out Y. And that sucks. And our goal has always been, let's give out, every girl that needs us should be able to get a grant. And things like this are getting us closer and closer to that we're going to be able to help more young girls play hockey every year. And anyone who needs us, well, that's the hope, is we want to be able to help as many young girls as we can. And just having that exposure and that support from major companies like Tim Hortons, Mattel, and the PWHL, it's game changing. It Yeah, words cannot express how game changing it is.
And I also feel like you're growing the future of Grindstone too, because I know if just even a handful of those players come back to they want to repay what you guys did for them.
Yeah, that's the hope. We started in 2016. I'm wearing my Grindstone shirt. I had to look at my established date, so 2016, and yeah, where we started with one grant has been that 1 year has certainly grown, and now we give out, depends on the year, but anywhere from like 50 to 90 every year now, and it's which is pretty cool. And every year we're hoping to give out. The goal is always to give out a little bit more, and
Hmm.
depends on how many applications we get, depends on how much fundraising we got that year, but we're every year we work harder and harder at it, and it is an easy thing to be a part of.
So, goalie edition of that Barbie doll when?
I mean, God, that'd be pretty cool. Hopefully in the coming years, I'll definitely advocate for it. Yeah, like you said, maybe some bad hips as well in there, but yeah, a couple
Yeah.
bruises on their knees maybe.
Articulating
But
hips.
yeah,
The Barbie doll screams when you like do the splits.
yeah, that's totally. Yeah, I think that's a good feature. Definitely, children would
The
totally
knees should
understand about
crack
that.
every time you move them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually that would be a pretty funny feature, just a little.
Yeah.
But
Going down the
yeah,
steps of the Barbie house, like crack, 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 crack.
but no, you kind of got to do like an awkward walk down the steps.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta do the when you get up.
Yep, yep,
Oh,
yep.
the
Even though
gate.
you're,
Actually, the goalie gate. You know, like where you kind of like
yeah,
lean on one
yeah,
side when you're standing.
yeah. It looks like a swagger, but it's not really.
It's
You're
not.
like,
No.
actually, I'm just hurting.
Yeah.
My leg didn't want to fully extend today, so we're just not.
I was watching Kiprusoff's jersey retirement, and he had like he looked so awkward because he was like one hip was like here and the other is down here, and he just had that like you're leaning on your dominant leg because that's what you've been
Yeah,
used to doing your entire life. And I was like,
yeah.
I know that stance. That's me right now.
I stand like that too.
That's me in the kitchen when I'm washing dishes, and I'm just leaning on one side because one hip is
Yeah.
worse than the other.
And then your back hates you, and you're like, good, getting old here
Oh yeah, actually yeah, lower back all the time, upper back
all the time.
lately.
Yep.
Just tore my
Okay, good.
rotator cuff just
Ooh,
over a month ago.
that's
Not
a
while
fun one.
playing, while I was doing weights, obviously.
Yep.
And now I can't like reach for things in the house, but I can
Yeah,
still
there's that
walk.
one motion that really, yeah, yeah. I tore my rotator cuff last year rock climbing, and I'm more or less all better now, but that was, yeah, for a little bit I was like, ooh, reaching in a certain way doesn't quite feel good anymore.
Was it your blocker hand? Or
Uh,
hopefully
it's a
not.
great question. I can't remember now, so that's always it's a good sign that I can't remember which one it was. But
Were you,
uh,
you you remember still being able to play through it?
oh yeah, I played through it. I was still rock climbing through it. It didn't stop me from doing things.
That's
I
insane.
just look. I don't claim to be smart.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, you're a lot younger than me, so maybe you can still afford to be stupid. Let's just put it that way. I'm in that phase where if they give me a beer after the game, I'm like, no, I have to think about recovery, inflammation. Thank you. I'll put it in the fridge for the next
Put it
six
in the
months.
fridge. Yeah,
Oh,
no, that's definitely not most of my team's mindset.
yeah. I noticed that about Canadian. I mean, at least Canadian guys playing hockey was that for a lot of them, it was just an excuse to drink a lot of beer, like once a week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
I've
I,
definitely got teams where it's just yeah, you got the pregame and you got the postgame now, and you're like, yeah, we kind of play some hockey in the middle, but we're having a
yeah,
good time with it. So.
it's actually been a huge like cultural shift, if you want to call it that, because the
Mhm.
teams I'm playing with here, they practice like 3 times a week, and then they also have their like league games during the season. Like
They
it's
practice.
serious. Yeah, yeah, we run practices. I love
I
it.
think
I freaking
like
love it.
I would love that too. I miss practices. That's the one thing that you don't realize as a kid is how much you're gonna miss practices when you get older. And yeah, like I would love to practice again. But if you suggest to my teams that we practice, I mean, we've jokingly said it in the dressing room, like, guys, we're doing pretty bad. We should maybe get a practice in here. Do we actually
Practice.
practice? Yeah, reaction to practice? No. Do we love to joke about it? Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely not
Like
a
like
Canadian beer
practice at
league
Wildlight,
mentality.
right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I gotta practice drinking a beer upstairs.
Like I shoot right as a player, but I catch left. So when I'm playing goalie, I'm like shooting the wrong way. So are you the
Yeah.
same way?
No, I'm lucky enough that I'm a left-handed shot, so I do
Yeah.
get the luxury of shooting the way I want to anyways, although it still doesn't make it much easier with a lobster claw in one hand, but gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, you need like a cheater blade or something.
Yeah, something just to give me a little more edge in there.
Yeah, you need to take like a Carey Price blade and just like heat it up and twist it even more, like a floorball stick.
Oh, have you not seen the
Banana,
new
the
Bauer
banana stick.
protocol?
Is that what it
Have
is?
you, yeah, the Bauer protocol is a P28 curve. Oh, I don't
Oh
have
wow.
mine here actually, but I do own one. It's a very
Okay.
stupid stick and I hate it, but it like curves hard at the toe. So yeah, can I launch it down the ice? Absolutely.
The
Can you do
stupid
anything
stick, you
else?
hate it, but you're using it.
Well, right now it's
Is
my
that
only
right?
stick. I'm waiting on my custom
Oh,
sticks to come in. I broke two sticks in the last year, so I'm down to like one and a half sticks right now, which is a very low number for me. So I'm waiting for
okay.
some custom sticks to come in. But
What did you have?
Warriors,
Okay.
love Warrior sticks. Yeah,
Which ones?
the V series. So I had RV2s for the last few years,
Oh,
and then so I just ordered a whole bunch of RV4s to go with a couple of my sets here.
I just ordered some RV4s as well.
Nice, right? They're great sticks.
I went with the twist. I don't know, is that what you picked as well? Ooh.
Yeah, W30. No, I go with the mid W32.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the quick, right?
Yeah, I think it would have been quick. Yeah, it's just a little more docile. The twist is a little too much for me.
Yeah.
Like I've always loved a very docile curve, and it definitely doesn't. Playing the puck with it's not quite as nice because you don't get much sauce off of it. But I can do every other goalie thing really well, which is what 90% of the game is. Because half
Five
the
hole
time, if I'm
coverage. Guess that matters, right?
five full coverage, yeah,
Yeah.
redirecting the puck into the corner and having it actually go to the corner instead of say popping up and hitting you in the shoulder, which is my favorite thing the protocol stick does.
Because
Is
as a
actually
shorter
able to
goalie, that's also great when it just kind of flips over your shoulder and in, right?
yeah, and I definitely want to do that to myself.
Yeah, I was using the price curves for like would have been 13 years now. So that's why I ended up going with the twist because it's basically
Yeah,
the same thing. And I
nice,
wanted to
good,
basically
good.
get a 25-inch mid-range stick just to kind of get used to it before I order with like a
Yeah,
full.
It's a lot of money to spend on something you're not haven't tried yet.
Oh, like we're talking money. Yeah,
Oh, I'm aware.
950 euros for
That's
the three pack. That's
Yep.
close to, I mean, that's like 1400 Canadian around there.
Yeah. Yeah, the math is mathing on that because yeah, they're like well they're on the shelf here, they're like 360 bucks each, I think, through the top end. So that does hurt. That hurts to hear.
I was like thinking about maybe should I get the Bauer Connect skates this year? It's like after I did the sticks, I'm like, yep, nope, nope.
I mean,
I'm
I
good
do
with mine.
recommend the Connect skates. They are very nice. I'm wearing the Connect 2s right now and I love them.
Yeah.
So I do recommend when your bank account's recovered from your sticks that, that is not a bad next step to take. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we got like very similar gear directions here. Interesting, interesting. Because
I'm
I
not
was,
surprised about that. You wore E-Flex 3s back in the day too, didn't you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the Genetic Fives. Love them.
Yep. And my new pads are genetic 5 interiors. So
What's going on? We just become best friends.
I mean, Mazda, come on.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the sticks because it's actually the first custom stick that I've ever ordered. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, no,
because
that soon made the Warriors are the
With Dukes, I
yeah,
always had the luxury of like, okay, I really like this stick. I'm just gonna get like two more off the shelf, and like you got all the
yeah,
colors, all the sizes, all the blades. But here, like the selection is very limited. Um,
yeah. I can
so
imagine. Yeah,
it's
it's
basically
not,
Bauer and Warrior. Bauer and Warrior just dominate here. I blame Lundqvist. Guy could have worn different pads his career. He decided not to. Every Swedish kid wants to be in Bowers, and then every Finn by extension wants to be in Bowers. And then you got Warrior with like the Finnish history behind it. So
yeah, yeah. They've got
yeah,
good finish roots there.
yeah, but yeah, like yeah, you want to try Vaughn? Good luck. You know,
I mean,
like
good luck here too.
really? Is it?
It's yeah, it depends on who
Oh
you're
wow,
talking to a little, but it's I certainly wouldn't call Vaughn a powerhouse anymore.
really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Is that because of like just true dominating, or is it because like maybe the quality's not there anymore?
It's a combination of things. I wouldn't say the quality's not there. Vaughn's still Vaughn. I mean, they're a Canadian brand company. It's still just made in their same old factory and all that. And
I
the
mean, I still
quality's
swear
still
by the
there.
chest protectors. I've been in the Vaughn
Yeah,
for over 10 years now, and I love it. They're
yeah,
so
yeah.
well.
They're still well made. It's just that they haven't really evolved the way other brands have. So they're very consistent and everything. But and when they do try and make changes, it doesn't always work out for them. And so the consistency has what's been really kept them alive. But they're not really, they're not making strides like Bauer is, and they're not, jumping in with 50% goalies like True is,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even CCM is kind of at least still dabbling and keeping some guys with them. But um, so you're seeing, those are kind of the big three, and then Brian's and Vaughn kind of are duking it out. But Brian's has definitely got a better foothold, I'd say, than Vaughn does right now. And I think it is like it's great. A lot of the older goalies really like Vaughn, but Vaughn hasn't evolved for the kids to want it quite
Yeah.
yet. And that's where the harm to their market has happened is that A, not a ton of NHL goalies wearing them anymore, and B, it's an old man pad a little bit. It kind of is. It's still very soft, and there's some work to be done, and yeah, like it's unfortunate that we just don't have much of them in our store. I know a couple other stores
Mm.
in the area do have a little bit more of them, but we just we look at the product and we're like, we still have the same 4 sets that we just bought from you guys the last 3 years. I can't put another set on my wall because it's not selling as is. So it's a
Yeah.
little sad, a little disappointing, but because I love Vaughn as a brand. I love, what they were, but what they are isn't quite there. And yeah, you've got, yeah, Bauer and True are just so dominant right now.
Mm. Yeah, it's a far cry from I think it was like 2010. I took a picture of the Duke's goal room, and there were like 20 brand spanking new sets of V4 7600s that had just come in, and we had just
Yep.
unpacked them, and God, they were beautiful. I never got to try them,
Oh,
but they
yeah.
were beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that room used to be like half Vaughn and now it's half Bauer. And I want to say it's, yeah, like 30%, 40% Bauer, 40% True,
Wow.
20% everyone else. Yeah, it's pretty heavily dominated in there.
That's crazy. I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's
yeah. So how would you describe your goaltending style now compared to like earlier or the earlier years, like have you noticed any changes like over the last 10 years maybe? Have you tried to model your game after a certain goalie or are you just pure Haley?
It's definitely changed a little. I can't say I necessarily try and model it after a certain goalie. I definitely think like there's, I would love to be able to play the puck like almost any other any pro goalie because I again, like I've mentioned, I can't play the puck to save my life, even though my teammates really want me to.
You might be better
Um,
than Hellebuck though.
I mean, it's that's not too difficult. Sorry, Helly, but uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely a little more crouched now. I mean, the game is I think over time I've kind of kept my game in line with how the game has changed over the years. It's gone from being a very upright goaltending game and now we're far more crouched, keep the center of gravity forward, your hands out and big. Before it was a little more upright and a little not almost back, but there's definitely a more emphasis on being up. Which I
Hmm.
mean, as a small goalie, the idea of making myself a little more smaller was a little strange at first, but the reaction timing that you have and just the capabilities you do get from having just that better center of gravity and the type of crouch that you do is definitely there. So I'd say Atika actually truly taught me a lot of that. Both because I got to coach alongside her for a couple of years, which was really really cool, and um, so very lucky. And even just watching her coach kids and listening to how she talked to the kids about how to do that and really learned a lot just from coaching alongside her in that sense and like watching her play and how she kind of plays. So I definitely would say that like Julie and CJ as well, just because CJ is pretty close to my height. So how do you make it to the big leagues when I think she's there 5'5" or 5'6", and I'm 5'4", so right
Hmm.
in that range. Aaron Frankel as well, being a fairly small goaltender, and just watching her play and just the movement and whatnot. How do you stop the goals that when you're right up against the post and there's that hole right here because you're 5'4"? Um,
RVH fails.
yeah, the RVH fails. Luckily, my post work is one of my strongest points in my game. But yeah, it's there's a lot of good goalies out there to really model your game after, and I also really love UC Saros. He's in my opinion, one of the best goalies in the NHL right now, and
Oh yeah.
he's considered pretty small, but he's still got like half a foot on me. So I don't know. There's some of those things I can't really model after, but
He is legit like 5'9", 5'9", 5'10". Like even though
yeah,
he's listed at like 5'11", but he's
he's
more
listed at
like 5'9".
5'11". He is 5'10". But yeah, so I really love watching him play, and he's got a lot of flamboyancies to him. So
Yeah, no, he's super fun to watch. But
yeah,
it's like yeah, like when it comes to the NHL, like that's the only guy I can kind of get inspiration from. But I feel like on the women's side, because the goalies are a little shorter, it's like I think for a short goalie, for a male short goalie, I think you're gonna find maybe better points of reference watching the women play,
yep,
because then you're really seeing goalies with less height, but how they're able to play at a high level. Those are the kind of little nitty nitty gritties that you might want to kind of add to your
yeah.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
'Cause-
definitely it is nice to see some goalies more my height at the high level, and obviously, dream's over. I'm well aware of that, but it's still fun to be like, haha, to all those coaches that were like, ah, you're too small, and I'm like, all right, go look at some of the goalies that are still playing now at the highest level, and tell me again that I'm too small.
yeah, yeah. All these goalies I'm playing against, like they're pretty much like on average like 6'3", 6'4", like because they're all like they came through the Liga junior program
Hmm.
or Mestis. So I'm looking at them like this in a dressing room, and I'm like, boy's got some size. But then when I'm out on the ice, like my goal is to just be better because I
Yeah,
know I can do
and
it.
that's
Just
yeah. I
I
had
have to
a
move
goalie.
3 times more, but
Yeah,
I can do it.
that you gotta do. You can do it. I had a
Yeah.
goalie partner growing up who was like I think she was about 6 feet tall. Like she was ridiculously tall, and so we were quite the comedic duo next to each other. Um,
Like Saros and
and
Renee.
like Cyrus and Rene.
Yeah.
And the one thing, the other teams walking by and they're watching them warm up and they're like, "Ooh, there's the goalies. Like, I hope we're not playing the tall one." And it's like, well, actually, the tall person stands really well in the net, but it's the small goalie that's the one moving and doing and yeah,
Yeah.
moving around the net like crazy. So yeah, I took a lot of pride in being the one that they didn't think they had to worry about and finding out real fast
Yeah.
that you maybe should have been a little more worried.
Yeah. I think also I do get a little jealous and maybe a little vindictive when I see like taller goalies because I'm like, ah, This dude just has to like go down to butterfly and his
Yeah.
flare is already covering like post to post. It's not fair. That's
He's
bullshit.
post to post, his head's still like above the crossbar.
Every goal
You're
should
like,
count as
what?
two against them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not fair. You're taking up the whole net just standing there. I have to move into every single
Yeah.
save I make.
Yeah, I joke, but like there are situations where I'm like, I give up a goal and I'm like, okay, if I had an extra inch, that would have been a save.
Yep,
I can flare out the hips a little bit more. That's a save. But
yep,
it's like, but then, then I end up thinking, okay, what can I do to make sure that I make a save next time? It's like you just
yep,
you gotta make the
yep.
change in your game. And now I'm so much more aggressive because I don't know if you do the same, but like if you film your games and like watch your footage, but like that every single time I was getting sniped, I was like, why am I so deep? Why am I so deep?
Yeah.
And now I'm
Oh yeah.
challenging the shooter every single time, and it's just making it so much easier. Like,
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do when not just challenging the shooter necessarily, but you're in position for it, and then right before they take the shot, push out just a little more.
mm,
So that shot they thought they had that they're about to take, you just push out and you're only out like maybe 2 more inches, but now you're just full coverage without actually biting in too hard. Because I
yeah,
find if you get too aggressive, then there's so many other options for them to, pass back door or to make a move on you.
yeah.
But it's that last second, just I'm gonna just almost flare out last moment and give you just way less space than you even thought you had. That's one of my favorite things to do. And you just eat the puck. And I'm like,
So many players now do the half toe drag and then shoot because it changes up
yeah,
the angle just enough to like
yeah,
mess you up
throw
when
you
you're
off. Yeah,
the original shot. So yeah, that's actually great as a goalie because if you're shifting a little bit, that messes up the shooter's shot.
yeah, exactly. They're thinking I've got this area here. And then last second, all of a sudden, you're just up in their face. And I've gotten like not close to shooters, but I've definitely covered quite a bit of gaps sometimes where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, you have to.
Yeah,
it's just simple math. We're
yeah,
not
gotta make yourself
Saros.
big.
Yeah, we never
No,
will be Saros. He's a freak of nature, and like it's not even fair how unbelievably
yeah,
athletic he is.
yeah,
But I
he's
don't think we'll
incredible.
ever see another Saros in the NHL. Like that's I think that's the sad part of it. Like I hope so,
There's
but
so, I mean, I would love to see, yeah, more like goalies like him, but yeah, I mean, the emphasis is so heavy on be tall and big.
yeah.
I'm like, all right, that's not all there is, but sure,
Yeah.
why not?
Well, that's part of what makes Alex Horowski so good is because I had no idea he was so short in like
Mhm.
and had that massive growth spurt. But so that forced him to be a really solid goalie and like be really athletic and be really quick. And then he gets the size added on top of that. Like I feel like that's
Yeah,
the template for big goalies. Big goalies should just stop relying on size and just be able to like
yeah.
work on their
Train
athletic.
like train like you're 5'10".
Exactly. Like play like you're a smaller goalie because I think
Yeah,
it's such it's almost like an unfair combination to like have size and
yeah. To have that, yeah. If you can move like a small goalie, but you cover the net like a tall one,
yeah. I
game
mean
over.
that's you got Vasilevsky, you got Rene, like just
Yeah,
absolute legends. Like the way they can move with the amount
yeah,
of body they have, like it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think I wanted to like just for the last question, you're incredibly knowledgeable about the game, and just found out recently that you are now a manager at Duke's Source of Sports, which
Yeah.
that's awesome. I honestly couldn't think of anyone better for that
Thank
job,
you.
and I know you're gonna do great there because you've got the. I mean, Duke's has for a long time supported the girls hockey, which is great, but
Yep.
I think it's going to be even better with you running things there as well. So
Appreciate it. Thank
big
you.
congratulations there.
Thank you. Yeah,
And
no, I got a lot of support from, same old guys there. You got Zach and Ken up top and working alongside Craig and Manny and Steve and all them. Like yeah, it's a good crew we got there. And there's a lot of great people that I have around me to help, yeah, help make me as good as I am at this job.
yeah, I love those guys. I like to call my my Dukes years are my formative years, because like I learned honestly like I just in terms of work ethic, I learned so much working there and just being accountable for yourself, just being on time, doing a great job, going above and beyond, like and just learning about the gear was like I think
Yeah.
the best part was because
Yep.
it helped me so much as a goalie just to know like the ins and outs of the gear and like talking to the
Oh,
ref.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, going like there was actually a question in all this.
We're not just
Like you,
talking up Dukes right now.
yeah, love Dukes. But like you've done so much to help grow the game at the grassroots level. Do you ever see yourself stepping into a bigger leadership role one day, maybe as a general manager of a professional women's hockey league team?
I mean
Hint, hint,
that's
touch.
always been the dream. I remember telling Sammy Jo Small, she was the GM of the Toronto Furies at the time, telling her I want your job someday. And I think I've had similar conversations. Told Angela James that GM of the Toronto Six. Yeah, someday I want to be doing what you're doing, and not in the not like a competitive sense of I'm gunning for your job specifically, but
Yeah.
just I want to learn from you. I want to learn how to do this because I want to do this someday. And yeah, that's I I want to work in women's hockey, and that's always been the goal. It's always been the dream, and I want to help grow the game, and I want to be a part of it from that inside. And uh, there's a lot of different avenues, a lot of different pathways you can go, and a lot of different things you can do to help grow the game and be a part of it and whatnot. But yeah, it's always been GM of a professional team, and specifically, if I got to be a GM of a Toronto team here, it would be I mean that'd be a dream come true, and that's the goal. It's what we're working towards, and I'd love to work. Yeah, get back into the hockey operations side of things with some women's pro hockey here because it's growing and it's getting bigger. And again, it's everything we've ever wanted it to be, and I want to be part of that.
Haley, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you. 100%. I can't
Thank you.
think of a better person at the helm. And I think you've already got better chances of winning a championship for a Toronto team than the Leafs do. So
I mean, I've already won one.
there you go. There you go.
But yeah,
Your
no,
move.
we'll
Your
keep
move,
we'll
Toronto
keep
Maple
bringing.
Leafs.
Yeah, we're gonna keep bringing cups back to Toronto. We're gonna keep reminding the men how it's done, and yeah,
Exactly.
whether
How
I'm
not to
cheering on
fall
the
under
Steppers from the
pressure.
stands or whether I'm actually part of that business operations and all that and part of the team in that sense. It's yeah, we're gonna keep showing the men how it's done because somebody's got to.
There you go. There you go. Take note, Maple Leafs. Take note. That's how you
Exactly.
win.
Take note.
Hey, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, especially the time difference between us. And I think it would be great to have you on again, just to even complain about refs, because I feel like we've got like probably 5 hours of stories just on that
I was gonna say, I think
subject.
if we did just that alone, I think you actually just have a whole series of podcasts. We could just talk about different segments of what refs do badly,
Yeah, and then we're gonna
and
get
what we
even
don't like
worse
about them.
calls because
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
refs are gonna get pissed, right? Listen, I'm not gonna say keep your stick on the ice because that's a stupid and tired old saying, and no goalie today should be dragging their stick around like it's still the 90s. So instead, let's go with keep your gloves up and your head on a swivel.
There we go.
Yeah,
Keep your eye on the puck.
yeah, there you go. And the headshot is still a save. So
Yep,
that's
saves is safe. Doesn't go in the net.
there you go. Thank you, Haley. Take care and good luck with everything. Keep on rocking with the grindstone. Love seeing all the wins you guys are having. So keep them coming.
Thank, thank you very much, Mazda. Thank you for having me on. Again, truly honored that you thought of me, and I look forward to chatting with you again.